Well, I get asked all the time about sauce, so here's why McCormick makes gravy packets, because nobody wants to do this. These are the bones of 3 turkey backs, a duck carcass, a goose carcass, and a chicken carcass. They're all spread out on pans, and they're going into about a 425-degree oven. I also roast a big pan of carrots, onions, and celery. Get them nice and brown. Now my big stock pot, you can see how big it is about halfway full of bones. And then here is the pan that I roasted some of those bones in. I'm going to add about a cup of water to that and just scrape all those good brown caramelized bits up, because that'll make the sauce. You can see how much liquid is in this pan now with the water. All those bits are free. And sometimes if it's a little bit too dark, if you're worried that it's too dark, you might want to just dip a finger in there and taste it. If it tastes burnt, throw it away. You've lost it. But if it doesn't taste burnt, it tastes like turkey or duck or chicken or whatever it is that you're cooking, then you're ready to rip. Now I'm going to add that to the pot, and then I'm going to cover with water. Alright, well that took 10 quarts of water. I left some room for those roasting vegetables I have. And what I'm going to do now is bring it to a boil, skim the layer of foam and scum that comes to the top, and then I'll be ready to add the caramelized vegetables. So it's come to its first boil, and I'm going to gently skim with a ladle all that foam and scum off. The vegetables are caramelized, and I've added about a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. You can see it in there. I'm going to mix that up and cook it for about 5 more minutes to caramelize the tomato paste. And you can see how caramelized those vegetables are in the tomato paste. Been about 5 minutes. I'm going to add that to my bubbling broth. And you can see I still have some nice brown bits in the bottom of that roasting pan where I just took the vegetables out of, and I'm going to pour some water in there, scrape it up, and get it in my pot. You'll notice I have a very gentle simmer. That's what you want. This is going to go for hours, maybe 6 hours. And you want it just simmering, not boiling. If you boil it, your sauce, your finished product will be cloudy, and all the fat will emulsify back into it. You want that fat to come up top so you could scrape it off. And also going to add some savory fresh bay leaves, thyme, parsley stems, and peppercorns, and a pinch of salt. That's all going in the pot. I also have some beautiful leek greens, leek tops. I've been saving those this week when I made some soup, so I have some leek tops, and they really add a nice touch to the sauce. And there it is. Nice gentle simmer. Let that go for about 6 hours. It's been 6 hours. It's reduced quite a bit. It's really looking beautiful. I'm going to strain it into a container with a little sieve. It's freezing cold outside, so I have my beautiful brown, rich turkey poultry stock cooling in about, you can see the snow, in about 20 degrees, and I'm out here in bare feet videoing cooling stock, so I must be a loser. Okay, back to our sauce. We have about a little more than a gallon of sauce, so now we have a roux, which is 8 ounces of butter, 8 ounces of flour, melted together, and we're going to cook that till it's a little blonde in color. That'll take about 10 minutes. It's a little bit of work, you got to stir, but it'll do 2 things. It'll thicken the sauce beautifully, and it'll also make a gorgeous nutty flavor if you brown the roux a little bit. Also, the stock that we made the other day, when it sets up, that's what it looks like. That means it has a lot of gelatin, natural gelatin in it that really make an incredible feel in the mouth. So all things are pointing up for a high quality sauce. You can see the roux, the way it's bubbling. and it kind of gets dry underneath. It should look like, shouldn't be greasy, and it should sort of look like wet sand when the tide just went out. And it's almost blonde enough. I just need a few more minutes. See that blonde color right there? That's what I'm looking for. Okay, I've added the cold stock to the hot roux, and that's really important in preventing lumps. Now, the sauce looks lumpy in the camera, but those are actually cold, gelatinous balls of broth that are going to melt as soon as this comes up to temperature. What I didn't want was little dumplings of flour. Although, really, at the end of the day, if you had to, you could just strain them out. But we're looking pretty good, and we're on our way to making basically a classic brown sauce or demi-glace, or you could get technical with it, but it's a thickened, rich stock. And then we're actually going to take it a step further after this. So this is going to simmer for about half an hour while I'm skimming all the scum from the top, and then we'll take it from there. It's come to a boil. I've reduced it to a simmer, and you can see that foam. You just want to sort of get underneath it with a ladle and just skim the foam, and do that for the whole 25 minutes, half an hour while this is going. Okay, so the sauce has been, flour has been cooked out of the sauce. It's nice and silky, and now phase 3. In the pot are shallots, thyme, and peppercorns, and I'm going to put about a half a bottle of red wine in there. And I'm going to reduce that until it is dry and syrupy. And now I've added the sauce back to the red wine reduction. So I've strained my sauce. There are the shallots, the thyme. It went for about 20 minutes. And it's shiny, brown, and delicious.